Come and take a look inside this recently refurbished HMO project and I'll show you exactly what we've done. First things first, downstairs we've added a toilet to make it a bit more practical. So this previously was just a little wardrobe or a coat wardrobe. We made it a little bit wider, stuck a toilet in, so downstairs all of the tenants have got somewhere to, well, you know what toilet is. Of course in an HMO, fire safety is critical. So what we've got as you walk in is you've got emergency lighting. Now, one of my top tips for emergency lighting is to get PIR sensors. That's the sensor so when you walk in, automatically turns on and lights up the space. What that also means is when the tenant walks off, after a set amount of time, which you can control, it will turn off. And so the lights aren't left on all the time, so it's an energy saver, and of course, it's a lifesaver. Then we've got the smoke alarms. Now, every area in a HMO should really have a smoke or a heat detector. So we've got smoke alarms throughout the entire property, and that's every single bedroom, every single communal space, every single passageway. But what we've also got in this particular property, because it's over 3 floors, is a fire alarm panel. So this is about as good as it gets, and we've also got break glass and sounders on every floor as well. Now you'll notice on the doors, we put door closers. Now every single door in an HMO should be able to close on its own, so it shouldn't be left open. And one of the things that the council will test is that the door actually does close all of the way. Around the door we've got intermittent strips. Now as an ex-firefighter, all of this stuff is obviously incredibly important to me and I appreciate the value of it, but I hope that you do too. Now in order to get your license for an HMO, you're going to be required to do this stuff anyway. So we've got a nice communal space in here. One of the things you'll notice as you go around this property is rather than just whitewash the entire property and make it really dull and boring, what we've done is we've added a bit of colour. So it's worth getting yourself an interior designer who's going to turn around and say, well, here's some wallpaper you could use, like this wallpaper for example. We've gone for a similar theme cycling throughout the property. Rather than go sort of light with the doors, we've made them dark, we've painted the ceilings, and we've used different colours around the property to give it a nice high-end feel. So got a communal space here, television, seating area, and this is where the tenants can chill out and enjoy themselves. Next up we've got the kitchen. In the kitchen, what I strongly recommend you do is you get cutlery. I was going to say soft closers. Get yourself cutlery, get yourself pots and pans, get yourself chopping boards and stuff like that before the tenants move in, because what will happen if you don't is you'll end up with 5 or 6 or however many tenants you've got buying a frying pan each. Everyone's going to buy their own stuff, and then very quickly this entire kitchen space will be totally consumed. So if you provide that stuff, then there's no need for them to go out and buy multiple sets of it. And I've made this mistake in the past, believe me, that's a top tip and it's well worth doing. The other thing I would do is start noting which cupboard belongs to which bit of Nando's sauce in there. I think the builders must have left that. But noting down which cupboard relates to which particular room, so everybody has their own space for storage as well. Now we've got a little dining space here as well where people can sit and actually eat, so that's quite critical, especially when you're doing an HMO like this one which is split over 3 floors. A lot of licensing, a lot of councils won't want you to not have a dining space, so an area where people can sit down and eat their food so they don't have to walk up to the 2nd floor with their plate and sit in their room and eat it. Again, with the fridge, helping people to have different shelves so people know what belongs to who. You're probably going to end up with a couple of fridges and freezers usually in the property, and one of the things I like to do in the kitchen as well is get a microwave that sits off of the worktop so it keeps our worktop space free. So you can get these from your suppliers. This particular kitchen came from Howden's, where we've got a trade account, and Howden's are generally quite good because you can negotiate the prices down quite well as well. Now other things to look at will be getting an LMPG account where you can get discounts with different suppliers. LMPG work with Magnet for example, and you can get 60-70% off of a kitchen. Now in this space you can see we've decorated it, we've added a bit of a feel to it, and again I think that's quite important. The interior designer picked out the pink tiles and the blue cabinets, but I'm really happy with it. This particular worktop here is actually a compact laminate. So it looks a bit more like a quartz, so it looks quite high end. It's very hard wearing, but it's a lot better value than a quartz. So this is a nice hard wearing surface if you're looking for one to put inside your HMO as well. Let's take a look around. Let's take a look at one of the bedrooms. And in fact, this bedroom somebody's moving into this afternoon, so you're just in time. In all of our rooms in this particular property, what we've got are individual thermostats. Now you don't have to do that, it just happened to be that the heating system that is already in this property suited that particular style. What you can also get with thermostats are Landlord's thermostats. So for example, Thermostat or Genius Hub, they're thermostats that are specifically created for HMO properties so that they can't be abused by the tenants, but also so that they're fair. So what you see in a lot of properties, and believe me, in our sourcing business where we sell HMOs and in our lettings business where we visit other people's HMOs, we see landlords sticking thermostats on the ceiling or hiding them or putting signs saying that they don't touch because they're electrically gonna kill you or whatever else. Or a little glass box around it so tenants can't access. Don't do any of that stuff. It's pretty unethical. People need to have some control over their heating. But what you don't want is somebody turns the heating up to 30, goes out for the day, opens the window and isn't even there. So some of these smart heating systems, you can set them so tenants can boost the heating for a couple of hours, but they can't just leave it on indefinitely at a really high temperature, and then you set a reasonable base temperature for that thermostat to sit at. Now, in the room, you can see we've got a wardrobe. Now, this is a simple stuff from IKEA. This particular wardrobe, we've used as much space as we could to the ceiling because space is a premium within an HMO. So, drawers, they're also from IKEA because IKEA do very sturdy stuff. The drawers tend to open very smoothly. And what we've done in here, just for a bit of added effect, is we've just added like MDF paneling. So this is just stuck onto the wall. We've again cut different colours just to add a little bit of effect, a little bit of a feel to the room. And again, our interior designer picked out the furniture and said, look, this colour bed will go with this wallpaper. This is staged at the minute, so when you come around and you take your photographs or you're getting your listings ready, this is the absolute critical time to get all your pictures done. Your place will never look like this again. It might look nice, but it's not going to look like this again because someone's going to move in here, they're going to have their t-shirt hanging on there, they're going to have their books and their bits and pieces lying around everywhere. And so if you then need to come and take a photograph of the room to list it when this person moves out, you're now going to be taking a photograph of a room that doesn't look quite as fresh as this. So when you take your photographs at the beginning, always stage it, put some nice stuff out. You know, we put plant on the side, a couple of books, and nice and staged. Now we can bank these and save them in the cloud, so, or Google Drive specifically for us, so that we can use them anytime we've got to list the room again. So if this tenant moves out in a year, we can put the original pictures up. Obviously we'll come around and make sure it's in good condition still. These particular rooms we've actually made into en-suites, so where possible en-suites are useful provided they're not taken away from the space of the room. Now because this is such a big room, this is actually about 12 square meters, this particular room, you don't and that's with the en-suite cut into it. We had plenty of space to add a little en-suite, and what that meant is we got ourselves a nice 800 by 800 shower, you got yourself a toilet, you got yourself a sink, and that tenant's got their own facilities. Now, I don't believe you need to put every single room as an ensuite, but I do think where possible, you can absolutely add an ensuite and it adds value for this particular tenant. Upstairs, we've got 2 more rooms as well. I'm not going to show you every single room because they're pretty much all the same, but I'll show you this particular one because it might be easier for me to show you the bed where the bed's not dressed. So again, identical to the other one, pretty much mirror images, these rooms. Now what I wanted to show you on the bed is that when we get a bed in an HMO, what we tend to do, and hopefully this is going to work super smooth, is we tend to get ottoman beds. And the reason we get ottoman beds is again because space is such a premium for a tenant. If you're putting majority of your life into one room and you've got to store that, you don't want to live in a load of clutter, so they can put their clothes, their summer clothes or whatever it might be under the bed so that they're there, easy enough to access when they actually need it. Again, furniture is the same. We keep our furniture pretty standard throughout rooms so we know where we're getting it from, and generally speaking we try and coordinate it so it all comes at the same time, can be put together. In fact, this furniture arrived When did it arrive? Beginning of this week. So today is Sunday. It arrived beginning of this week, I think Tuesday. Some of it on Wednesday. It's been assembled and the first tenant is moving in this afternoon. So we like to turn things around quickly. The way I look at it is like this. In this particular property, these rooms are going for £1,000 per room. If you've got 4 rooms sitting empty for 1 week, you've just lost £1,000 in revenue. So time and speed is really, really, really critical. Once again, we've got ourselves the en-suites. Upstairs is actually slightly different. So upstairs what we've got is a shower and toilet that's shared between the tenants, but other than that, the property is largely the same. So thanks for coming on a little tour around the HMO. Hopefully that gives you a good example of what they're like from the inside. I know people have got all different ideas, and to be honest, you see all different types and levels of HMOs out there. But what we really believe in is providing a high quality home, because somebody's spending a large portion of their life in here, and we've got a fair degree of control over how nice that environment is. So why wouldn't we want to do the highest finish and the highest levels of safety as well? So if you like this sort of content, of course, like, subscribe, and keep following this channel, where I'm going to be providing plenty of updates, plenty of information on the legislation, taxation, regulations, and how you can get ahead in this world of property.